Welcome back, friends. Let's finish this up. I know this is a somewhat involved process with a lot of subtle detail, but remember the purpose behind all of this is to improve the table structure. Let's take a look. So first of all, remember we had part brand. I'm going to take a look at that, execute that. So notice that here we have the part and the brand, no duplicate records, atomic fields, and we had a primary key. It's good, it's fine. And now we also had this other one, part price tags, unique. Let's take a look at that. So execute. And here, remember, there is a problem, which is that the price clearly depends on the part, because when you switch, take a look. If it's a tire, it's $100, but clearly if it's wipers, it's $20. So the price changes when the part changes. The tax, if you think about it, depends on the price, right? Because, for example, when the price is 100, you might pay one tax. When the price is, say, 220, you might pay a different tax, and so on. So I hope you understand that the tax here depends on the price. You go to a cashier, you give her your items or him your items, she computes the tax, and that's how much you pay. It's based on the price. So here, we're going to separate things out a little bit more for that reason. So by the end, remember, we'll have three tables. Let's take a look. So I'm going to say the following now. Select part, comma, price into part price only, and that's it. From this table, which is part price tax unique. Let me select that. Okay, hit execute. 2 rows affected, correct. Let's take a look at that table for a second. So select star from part and price. Execute. And now we have this small table called part price. And again, notice that here things are unique. You have the part and the price only, and that's it. So let's refresh on the left side here. Right click and refresh. Expand the tables node. And go over into part price. And then go to design. And remember, that's a new table. So, and just set the primary key on the part, for example. Set primary key on the part. And then close that. Cancel, and then make sure you save it before closing. That's all. Okay, that's good. All right, so you've got this part price, which stores only the part and the price. You've got a primary key, good. You've got unique records, good. You don't have any repeating columns. You don't have like price 1, price 2, price 3, and so on. And you don't have fields that are, for example, non-atomic. Like you've got 2 prices, for example, in the price field. You don't have that. So everything is good. And now the other thing is to do this one. Take a look. All right, and now let's finish up. So remember, we had part price, which stores the part and the price of the item. And the last bit, let's go back into part price tax unique. Remember that here the tax depends on the price, because that is so we need to separate that further. Just keep that in mind, okay? You want the price, for example, to be dependent completely on the part, and you want the tax to also be completely dependent on the primary key and not some other field. So in other words, remember that tax, if you go to a cashier and an item is $100, you pay a certain tax. It doesn't matter whether you're buying a tire or a wiper. All that matters is when it's $100, you pay the same tax. You see, it depends on the price. Keep that in mind. So here, I'm going to separate things out again. So now I'm going to type the following here. I will say select, and then I will say price, comma, tax, into, and now price tax from part price tax unique. All right, copy that out. Hit execute. 2 rows affected. Good. Let me just see what's inside. So select star from price and tax. Execute that, and you've got the price and the tax only, and that's it. So clearly the tax depends on the price, and that's it. You don't have the tax depending on other columns. I'm going to review everything in a second, but again, you may want to identify this in some fashion here. So for example, on the left side, refresh the view, and then go over into price tax. You have to be super careful here. And then switch over to design mode, and then set the price as the key. Make sure you save that, close it, and that is it. So remember what we have now. Let's review everything together. So select from part brand. That was our first cleaned up file. And that file, when you look at it, is good because you have, as you see here, tire and company X, tire company Y, so no repeating columns, atomic fields, and we don't have, for example, two company names stored within a single cell. That's bad. And we also had the primary key set on it, so that's good. And now we also had the next one here, select, and then we had the following, part price. So select all from part price. And we have the part and the price, and again, we had a primary key. We have columns that do not store any kind of redundant information. We don't have any redundant rows of any kind. So that's good. And the last one we had was the select star from price tax. So those are our three tables. We took one big table and we've decomposed it into three smaller tables. And again, here we had the price column, the tax column. So they store definite values, well-defined different quantities. Records do not repeat, and we had a primary key set. And that's it. All right, I'm going to leave it here. Obviously, normalization is something that has to be practiced repeatedly to be understood properly. But remember, the big ideas with all of this, even though I've shown you a lot of fine detail, is get rid of duplicate records so you're not wasting space and slowing down queries, for example. Because if you have to look through the same information 10 times, then obviously that's going to take longer and it's going to slow things down. Not good. To make working with the data as easy as possible, make sure each column stores a well-defined value. Make sure that each record is identified with a primary key. And then make sure that you're not repeating the same information 10 times over in terms of columns. Like, for example, column 1 has one kind of information, column 2 next to it has the same kind of information, column 3 next to it has the same kind of information. You don't want that either because, again, redundancy, you see? These are the major ideas. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.